with a left hook. He's inside. One smart thing he's doing, he's using his hands on his shoulders to move the guy around a little bit, and then letting go, getting distance, and punching again. Being aggressive. You want a young guy to be aggressive, especially when he has an opponent in front of him that's allowing him to do that. Why lay back and let things happen? Here comes the right hand. Straight right hand, had the distance right, got full extension on his right hand. Not bad technique for a guy who hasn't been around the block too long.
Well, round number 2 underway.
But obviously it's easy to have good technique when a guy stands in front of you with a sign on.
Hit me. Well, you mentioned Woods is 7-1.
But a heavy misleading 7.
Yeah, and he has 6 knockouts. Very interesting.
Where were you on some of those dates?
Hands are loose. Hands are loose.
Tough finding an alibi.
Taione, good size heavyweight and good physique. No body fat on this guy. Not a real big heavyweight, but a guy who's well defined.
A solid 6'5", 235 pounds.
You wouldn't think he was 235. Well distributed, low body fat. Looks like an athlete. He's going to have to be an athlete if he's going to have a chance to make it in boxing starting at 27. He's got a lot of catching up to do. Guys who've been fighting amateur that are in the top of those divisions since they're 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old.
A rare punch from Woods. Actually ripped the shot to the body, and he does score with the right hand, but Taione answers. Good counter right.
You don't want a guy like Woods to get confident. That's why Taione, even with his limited experience, when he was pressing, he was doing good. He was keeping the other guy defensive. A lot of things go through Taione's mind. He starts to think rounds, starts to think about being in a whole different kind of landscape here. It's going to take him time to gain the real confidence. That's why you want to be careful, in all honesty, with the quality of opponents at the beginning, but not too careful because he's 27. There has to come a point where you say, let's step up, because we got to get there.
Well, the good thing for Taione is he knows he can go 6 rounds in a professional boxing match because he has done that 2 fights ago against Calvin Smith. And I think he may have hurt Woods again. Good uppercut inside.
Woods is only fighting in spots, and you get the feeling if he would fight in a little bit larger spots, he'd have a chance to be a little bit effective with the Taione, who's a little green.
Taione did follow up with a right hand there.
Push off, push off. Let him out of there now.
Fans behind us have a pretty good perch, and they're offering words of advice. Sean Woods knocked down in round number 1. Neilson Taione controlling this bout.
Let's get ready to run.
On hand, Charlie Hustle. He'll see Vinny Pazienza, boxing's Charlie Hustle, in our main event. Pete Rose, although not eligible for the Hall of Fame because he's on the banned list, did receive 5 votes in the recent balloting. And, well, I know he's banned from the sport, but how is he not in the Hall of Fame?
We're going to have to correct that. There's no doubt about that. All-time hit leader has to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right now, Sean Woods and Neilson Taione underway in round number 3.
Right hand has been the most effective punch for Taione so far.
Yeah, he did knock Woods down in round 1 with a straight right hand, and Taione digging in and clubbing Woods, and Woods not holding on, and now does the smart thing and grabs.
Taione will learn with experience. When a guy falls forward, you take a step back, you give him room, and you throw punches. You let him walk into other punches. If he did that, I don't think Woods would be still standing in this round. He will learn that, though, if he stays around.
Let's take a look at some punch numbers in round number 2, and you see that Woods was actually much busier, but oh so inaccurate.
He's the taller guy. He wanted room, so what did he do? He pushed off Woods, and he got the room. Not a bad thought in there, not a bad technique. Taione has to learn to use that jab a little bit more, though, in those spots to set punches up, not to rely on the hook or the right hand all the time. But being a green guy, being a guy that's in school, so to speak, That will come.
Push off. Push off.
Woods ripping a right hand to the body.
You know, you're in the gym. The trainer works on using the jab, setting the punches up, getting the distance with the jab. But they don't do it in here because the pressure gets to them. They get excited, and they go what seems to be the easiest thing to go with, the big punches, because they're anxious. They want to get it over with. But with experience, they learn you want to get it over with, then learn to use the right punches. That comes with experience. The uppercut could be very effective for Taione inside because Woods lays inside. He's a shorter guy. His chin's right underneath Taione, and he doesn't move his head.
Taione again loading up with that right hand, and Woods trying to just tie him up.
Jab should be used by Taione. He's going to have to learn to use his size. He's the bigger guy. Use the jab. Don't fall into range. Even though you're landing the punches, don't fall into range where the shorter guy can land too. Not when you're bigger. In other words, he has to learn an identity. He has to get an identity in the ring, which will come with experience.
Midway point of the bout between Neilson Taione and Sean Woods.
No.
Come our main event, Vinny Pazienza and Andre White. In a 10-round super middleweight bout. Earlier, Ray Oliveira and Fitz Vanderpool fought to a draw. Neilson Taione in the white trunks with black trim against Sean Woods in the black trunks with white trim. Woods knocked down in round number 1. In round number 3, Woods was much busier than Taione, but only landed 4 of his 48. And you take a look at the numbers, and you see Woods has thrown more, but clearly outlanded. Well, he does land it right.
When he throws punches, he doesn't do real badly. When he doesn't throw punches, he does very badly.
In between rounds, his trainer and manager, Butch Chambers, said, "I don't want you on the ropes."
Right hand was effective by Woods that time. He's a small guy, though. You can see that. He's not a real big heavyweight. He's more of a cruiserweight. And he wasn't effective. But he was able to land that right hand because Taione threw it from the jab from too close. He threw the jab from where he could be hit by the right hand. With experience, he'll learn to throw it from a little further out where you're safe.
Well, they each exchanged right hands to the body. Woods not very quick with his punches.
Even in that spot there, Woods fell in, smothered the punches of Taione. Taione will learn to adjust. Take a little step back and have room to throw the punch and let the guy fall into it. Taione threw an uppercut there that could have been effective if he followed up with a left hook.
Left and right by Taione.
And it hurt Woods, but only one punch at a time because he's not confident yet. He's not letting things flow. And he's going to become any kind of force, any kind of prospect. He's going to have to learn to let punches flow. But that comes with experience. But he's 27, so he's going to have to start making ground quickly.
Well, we mentioned Taione is a 27-year-old, a former super heavyweight kickboxing champion in his 4th professional bout. Coming up on Friday Night Fights on the Juices, Taione staggers Woods and sends him down. Second knockdown of the bout.
And this fight can be stopped because it's a one-sided fight. Doesn't look like it's going to change much. I wouldn't be surprised if they stopped it.
10, that's it, baby.
And Woods makes a half-hearted effort to get up at 10. So Neilson Taione, the 27-year-old fighting out of Australia by way of Tonga, is now 4-0. He gets his 3rd stoppage as he stops and outclassed Sean Woods in round number 4. Take a look at the knockdown that ended the fight.
Look right here, my finger.
Right hands were effective for Taione all night, so why change it now? Throws the right hand twice, he lands it. Woods is right in the path of the punch. Then he comes in, and when Woods falls forward, to Taione's credit, he changes to an uppercut, which was a good choice there, good instincts. Again, right hand, Woods is right there to receive it. He loads up, throws another right hand, goes back. Taione closes the distance, gets close enough, and then throws an uppercut because he sees the guy falling forward and then tries to bring the right hand on top. Not too bad technically for a guy who has not been around long at all, but he had the right guy in front of him.
And right hand for good measure, and Taione picks up his 4th professional win in as many fights. And we are set. Here's our ring announcer, Mike Cabral.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Smoger stops it at 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the 4th round. The winner by knockout, Neilson, the Tornado Taione.
So Neilson Taione comes up with his 4th win, his 3rd stoppage. Stopped Sean Woods in round number 4. Don't forget our main event still to come. The Tasmanian Devil, Vinny Pazienza, squaring off against Andre White. That's in our main event, but let's check in with Brian and Max. Guys?
Bob, thank you very much. You know, we're trying to think of how many kickboxers have made it successfully in the world of actual boxing, just using your fists. And I mean, Troy Dorsey comes to mind, not too many others.
Yeah, you know, people, the first thing you think about is, of course, kickboxing is better than boxing because you can punch and you can kick. But really, if you stop to analyze it for a second, in kickboxing, there's a rule. You have to kick at least 5 times or you get a point deducted. Now, if it were really advantageous to kick in a fight, which it's not, it's a disadvantage because you're so off balance, but if it were an advantage, they wouldn't have a rule that you had to kick at least 5 times to take a point away. Obviously, they have it there because once actually in the fight, you find that it's a disadvantage to kick. And a lot of kickboxers, I think, the successful ones who are good in boxing, you could see that they had the root to be good in boxing planted in kickboxing. They knew how to use their hands.
We'll see how Taione progresses at the age of 27, but a big man can progress a lot more. Programming note for you here. This over on ESPN. Big